Welcome to On Texas Football. Time for the Saturday morning conversation. I'm Bobby Burton. I'm here in Athens, Georgia this morning. Rod Babers, Gerry Hamilton alongside. Guys, let's talk about this matchup, Texas versus Georgia. Gerry, your last-minute thoughts on the Longhorns going up against the Bulldogs later tonight.
Well, you want a key stat for this game? Georgia is 0-1 this year against teams Sark beat in 2023. So what does that mean tomorrow? Tonight, I don't really know, but I just thought that was an interesting stat. Because that's the way you got to find stats against Kirby at this point. So, yeah, look, I think this is pretty much Texas has to bring their fist to the fist fight. That's what this is going to be. The crowd is going to be jacked out of their mind in a few hours. It is what it is. And I think Texas, this is kind of where your program, I think, is really tested, is as a staff, you want to see before you get to the game within the game, which nobody really knows how that's going to turn out. But what did my players learn from the trip to Florida? What did they learn? And are we really growing as a team, or do we think we're growing as a team? You're tested in a few hours tonight. Have you really grown as a team post Florida? Because this is the best opponent. This is the best opponent talent-wise you're going to face the rest of the way. A&M's a really good team. Georgia's more talented, 1 through 85. So this is your test right here to say, okay, have we really grown, or did we think we've grown? How much have we matured? Are we ready for the fight in a few hours? Because that's what this is going to be. It's going to be a fight.
And, Gerry, there are even levels to that. I mean, they definitely improved since Florida, but have they improved enough to compete not against Florida, but against Georgia, who is the defending SEC champ, two-time national champion out of the last, 4 years? Really good program, et cetera. Rod, your thoughts on this one?
I mean, the great Ric Flair once said it, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And Georgia's the man in the SEC. There's no doubt about it, the top dog in that mountain. So for Sark, I agree with everything Gerry said. For Sark, for Arch, for the lines of scrimmage here for the Longhorns, it's pretty much a referendum on where this program is. And I think, if the Longhorns come out, I think swinging, and that goes for Sark too. He's got to come out and be really aggressive. Now, I don't think Texas is going to be able to run the football. I've been saying that. I think the aggression means pass first and lead with the pass, whether that's the short, high percentage, quick passing game to get the ball out to your athletes in space and have them make things happen, or if you're testing those DBs and they're playing man coverage and you're taking shots downfield. By the way, I think you're going to need both of those game plans against Kirby, because I don't think Kirby Smart's going to let you beat him just one way for 4 quarters. There's going to be adjustments, and you got to win that chess match that Gerry talked about too. And I think that's a big part of what Sark is going to have to do in this game plan. So had a week to actually Sark to get deep into his bag, and I expect to see really the best of Sark as a play caller. Whether that means a win or a loss, I expect to see him at his best in this game.
Rob, we had a guest on Friday morning's Coffee and Football that talked about how Georgia typically doesn't lose to teams that aren't well-rounded. Typically a team has to be able to run the ball and pass the ball to make Georgia kind of pick their poison. But actually that hasn't and wasn't the case in their lone loss so far this season. Georgia's only loss was to Alabama. And Alabama has no running game to speak of right now. They're worse running the football than Texas overall. Yet Alabama went into Sanford Stadium here just a couple miles away and beat Georgia earlier this year because they can throw the ball. I think that when we look at this game, I think Texas is going to be able to score some points. I don't think they're going to go out there and score like Mississippi, like Ole Miss did against them, where they had 5 straight touchdowns. So I think Texas is going to be able to score some points. The real question for me is, what does Texas do on defense against a Georgia offense that is clicking on all cylinders right now? Can Texas keep that offense of Georgia's in the 20s, not let them get up into the high 30s? Because Georgia's offense has that capability. Yeah. They have a quarterback that's playing really well, an offensive line. Texas is going to have to do something different on defense, because even though Texas theoretically stops the run well, they didn't stop the run well against Florida. And Florida's the only other team that really tried to bully Texas. And they were able to. Yeah. Georgia's going to try to bully Texas today.
Yes.
So you stop the run. Let's see if they can keep that Georgia team and that Georgia offense not necessarily totally corralled, but within reason, right? Keep them in the 20s, and it's a ball game. It gets into the 30s, and you just don't know. You're going to have to play. You're going to have to play a really great game on offense at that point to even stay in the game with a Georgia team. What did we go? What did everybody go with their picks? I went 24-23 Longhorns in our prediction show this yesterday that we talked about. Jerry, what are you going in this game?
I went against my head, and I went with my hope, and so I went Texas 34-31.
Woo, you're in the 30s. You are in the 30s. Rod B, what about you, buddy?
I believe at this point I'm at around 27-23 Georgia, unfortunately. Yeah, I'll take the Bulldogs at home. I do. I think they're going to pull it out, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't feel good about it, but I hope I'm wrong.
Somebody, Brian Irwin and Bob Shipley called it championship pedigree. I think it's that you're really relying on, right, to win those fourth quarter tight games that Georgia's done so much of. You could call it's in their DNA a little bit. I mean, Rod, you're right. They win the tight games. They find a way. They execute at the right time. So, look, however this game goes, I think we all would agree, as long as Texas puts it all out there and just doesn't, stub its toe, as long as Texas puts a good effort out there, let's see where they're at and hope the cards fall in our direction. That's really the way it goes. So I went Texas 24-23, Jerry 34-31, Rod 27-23, bad guys. We don't like you, Rod, right now. All right, hey, before we go to the other games.
Y'all don't want to know what my head was telling me.
Hey, this game is tonight, by the way. Georgia favored by 6.5, depending on what time and what line you're looking at right now. This game at 6:30 on ABC. There are a number of games on ABC today that are blockbuster types. We're going to talk about those next. But first, I want to say thank you to our sponsor. Every Saturday morning conversation brought to you by our friends over at Tito's. Tito's Handmade Vodka is a proud sponsor of your Texas Longhorns, as well as on Texas football. Distilled and bottled by Fifth Generation Inc., Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly. Again, Tito's Handmade Vodka is a proud sponsor of your Texas Longhorns, as well as on Texas football. All right, guys, the next piece of this is what we're going to talk about. The game of the week outside of Texas, Georgia, is OU going to Alabama. Bama favored by 5.5 right now. That is the game that precedes the Longhorns on ABC. Only 5.5. Is that surprising to you guys, or what are y'all's thoughts on this one? Rod, I'll start with you.
I think it's about the styles that these two teams, their styles of play, right, and how they may contrast. And it's possible that Alabama could just, blow Oklahoma out, but Oklahoma rushes the passer really well, if not one of the best pass rushing units in the country. Also, they blitz a lot as well, too. So will that give that Alabama offensive line problems? Offensive line for Alabama is actually one of their strengths. So you're kind of going up against strength on strength there. And if Ty Simpson has time, we've seen him going up against that Kirby Smart defense, dial it up and actually make a lot of big plays, big time throws downfield. And also something that worries me if I'm a Bama fan is the fact that John Mateer can run coming off his best rushing performance of the season versus Tennessee. And they've had issues. Bama, going back to last season, they've had issues with dual threat quarterbacks who can run, especially design quarterback runs, allowing almost, I think, over 5.5 yards per rush on quarterback design runs this year. That could come back to haunt them. So I'll take Bama, though. I'll take Bama to win this thing, no doubt.
Jerry, what about you, buddy?
All right, so Oklahoma fans, this is where you're going to like me. Y'all are the birds, but here's the problem. I'm bringing you to the cat right now. You had an off week. Mateer had a week to rest. You can really rush the passer. You coming off the big win at Tennessee. Everything lines up for an upset. I'll take Bama to cover. Bama's a better football team. Ty Simpson's playing at a very high level. Alabama's continuing to gain confidence. And I don't think Oklahoma will be able to score enough points to beat Alabama, bottom line, on the road. So sorry to bring the birds to the cat. Actually, I love doing that if the birds are Oklahoma.
I tell you what, I'm going to go, guys, a little bit separate. I think OU is going to surprise Bama. I don't know that OU will win this game, but I would pick them to cover. I think OU's defense is better than people give it credit for. It is tough to go on the road and beat Bama at Bama. History proves that. But this OU team, I think John Mateer's getting some value. They're starting to be able to run the football a little bit too, guys. That could spell a little bit less time for Alabama's very potent offense to be on the field. We'll see how it goes right now. But I'm going to go for OU to cover. I do think Bama likely wins, though. All right, the next game I want to talk about is the 11 o'clock game on ESPN today. That is South Carolina going to A&M. I just want to mention this because this is one of the two games left on the Texas schedule after today. Aggies favored by 17.5. They lost this game last year in Columbia, South Carolina. Rod, what do you think?
I'll take the Aggies. I got more faith in the Aggies this year. In South Carolina, not what they were, not as dangerous as they were last year, not as formidable. The Aggies may have some injuries I think they're dealing with, but I think ultimately they have enough firepower offense. They can run the football if they need to. They can throw the football really well with Marcel Reed. So I'll take the Aggies, especially defensively. I think they're going to make life hell for that South Carolina offense.
You know, when
favored by 17.5, Jerry. What do you think?
You know, when you go to a high school football practice and the kids are wearing like the wristbands of the colleges they visited, I want to see what wristband Lenora Sellers is wearing. Is it a Miami Hurricanes wristband? I think there's something outside this game that I'm looking for. I like A&M to cover. I think South Carolina's got a brutal offensive line. That's probably why they'll lose Sellers in the offseason if they do. And I do think A&M's pass rush is gonna be a real issue for South Carolina. And one thing you know about Texas A&M is they can run the football. Whether Le'Veon Moss is there or not, they're running the football. And I think those are bad combinations for South Carolina. South Carolina's average loss the last four has been 10.25 a game. I think A&M will eclipse that and probably cover.
Yeah, that all makes sense. The question I have for you guys, and it's interesting you're hearing Lenora Sellers because all offseason we were thinking he might go pro. Some people were thinking he might be actually.
And he might still. Yeah.
Yeah. But now you're hearing Miami might be a potential landing spot for him in the portal after we thought that the North Carolina State quarterback might be destined for Miami. But we'll see. Other games in the SEC this week, just a minute of note. Florida goes to Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin, it's the Lane Kiffin Bowl, basically. Not sure where he's going to coach next year. That's at the 6 o'clock game. Ole Miss favored by 11.5 in the Grove. You guys have any comments on either of those games?
Taylor Green, still best player on the bad team, man. That offense is impressive, but they are a bad team. The Lane Kiffin thing is interesting. A lot of people think that Lane Kiffin's going to stay there at Ole Miss, too. No idea what Lane Kiffin's going to do. Yeah.
I agree.
Name right now, so you got to take advantage. You got to cash that lottery ticket in.
Yeah, I agree with Gary. I don't think Lane Kiffin's staying.
No.
But what do you
Question
think?
Is he going east or west?
Yeah, Florida or LSU?
Yep.
Maybe even the NFL. Could be. Other games in the league. Kentucky plays Tennessee Tech. Tennessee Tech is undefeated, by the way. They're not a Division I team. Kentucky favored by 22.5. Tennessee hosts New Mexico State. Tennessee favored by a very small margin of 40.5. And then, interesting game, Mississippi State goes to Columbia, Missouri. The Tigers of Missouri favored by 6.5, but that's with their third string quarterback. We'll see what Mississippi State can get done in Columbia. That's the SEC slate. We have one more slate to talk about, and that is the national group. There's a big game today in just moments away, really, a couple hours. Notre Dame in Pitt and Pittsburgh. Before we go there, I want to say thanks again to our sponsor. That's Tito's. Tito's is your a proud sponsor of your Texas Longhorns. Tito's handmade vodka, distilled and bottled by Fifth Generation Inc., Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly. All right, guys, before we get out of here, we need to talk about this Pitt Notre Dame game. It is the one opportunity for Notre Dame, realistically, to get knocked out of the college football playoffs. Yet they are favored over a 7-2 Pitt squad. They're favored by 12.5 over Pitt. What are we thinking here in this game, Jerry?
Yeah, look, I think Carr has continued to grow as a quarterback. Jeremiah Love's the best running back in college football, even though he doesn't get to put up the stats because it doesn't work that way anymore. But in big games now, he really looks like the best running back in the country, and that's going to be the difference in this game. I think Carr's growth, and I think Jeremiah Love is that best running back. And I still look at this from Pitt. Pitt's going to have a say in who makes the playoffs. They're not going to be one of those teams, but they're going to have a say because of Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami, their last three. But I like Notre Dame probably to cover this and win it by a couple of touchdowns. I think Narduzzi does a really, really good job at Pitt. I think they have good defensive plans. I just think Carr's growth, Jeremiah Love is going to be the difference. And I actually think the Notre Dame pass rush will get home on Pitt too this week.
Yeah.
Hey guys, just so you'll know that they're calling me to get out of here. So we can't do USC Iowa.
Okay.
Rod, I'm going to pitch it to you now for Notre Dame Pitt. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
5-4-3. All right, Rod, what do you think about Notre Dame Pitt?
I think Notre Dame has a little bit of advantage here just because they're starting a true freshman quarterback. Now he's 5-0, I believe, since he got the nod as a starter. But going up against that Notre Dame defense, they got great man-to-man corners on the outside. They're going to make life tough for a true freshman. And the Notre Dame running game, I think it actually will be tested a little bit by that Pitt rush defense, which is pretty good. They got some of the best, probably one of the best linebacking cores in the country. But you're right, the explosive plays of Jeremiah Love, I think he's top 5 in the country in explosive runs. I think that will make the difference. So Notre Dame, I'll take them to win and to keep their playoff hopes alive.
All right, that's going to do it for the Saturday conversation. We also got USC hosting Iowa. That's going to be an interesting game. But ABC lineup today is fantastic. Notre Dame Pitt at 11, OU at Bama at 2:30, and then we top it off with the Longhorns versus Georgia at 6:30. It could be a record-setting weekend for ABC from a viewership perspective, topping it off with that Texas-Georgia game here in Athens a little bit later. All right, for Gerry Hamilton and Rob Babers, as well as our producer, Matt Hutchison, I'm Bobby Burton. You guys have a good one today. Going to be fun. We'll have the Texas tailgate next, then watch with us, as well as the post-game show. You guys have a good one. Hook 'em horns.